That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 65. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz. We've got some NBA playoff basketball to talk about. Nets Knicks game 4 happened today. We have a special guest, which we'll get to in just a couple of seconds. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see who it is. If you're not, come on out and check us out on YouTube, Bad Weather Fans. Just type it out. You can find us there if you're listening online. Go ahead on Apple, Spotify, all of the good ones. Give us a 5-star rating and leave a comment. So today, game 4 has happened. The Brooklyn Nets defeat the Boston Celtics in Boston, kick their ass. Nets with a 3-1 lead. Knicks, Atlanta. Tough game for the Knicks. They lose badly to the Hawks. Atlanta with a 3-1 lead. Alex. All right.
Yes. Not too well, man. Not too well. I was so upset, man. I was like, excuse me. First 4 words. I can't even start without coughing. But that was just horrible, man. Today with the Knicks, I didn't see 1 second in the Nets game. I was out to dinner. But that was horrible. The Knicks are embarrassment. Like in Atlanta, they were just an embarrassment. They just didn't show up. They got punched in the mouth in the third quarter, and then they just folded like a cheap suit. They were just done. And it's just not the same team we've been watching all season. It's kind of putting a damper on the year if they just go out sad like this in 5. But we'll get into it more as this episode goes on.
You know what I thought was interesting was when the Knicks season ended, they looked terrible versus the Celtics and the Hornets. And I thought that was interesting. They beat them, but they played bad teams. They got the wins. But, you know, I thought they would turn it on a little bit more. Atlanta has proven to be more difficult than I think all Knicks fans had anticipated. Right. And you go into Atlanta, and that's the shit that happens, man. Things get different. But let's bring our guest in, Dolan J. Trump, who is an awesome follow on Twitter, Dolan_J_Trump. He is tremendous. Watch for his gear. It's awesome. You guys want to follow him on Twitter if you're a Nets or Knicks fan. He is a must follow. Dolan, yes. How are you?
Actually, I'm feeling the same way Alex is feeling right now. So it's a little down in the dumps after today's loss. So I thought, what's funny is heading into this weekend, my prediction was that the Knicks were going to have a gutty performance in Game 3, pull out the victory, and then I thought in Game 4 would be the game where Atlanta would just shoot the lights out. And actually, I thought after what happened Friday night when Atlanta shot like 60% from 3, I'm like, all right, Sunday will rebound, and Julius Randle will have a nice bold 27-point performance where he's efficient and the team just gets back on track and kind of seizes back momentum, but didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't understand. That's why these 2 Atlanta games are so puzzling, because Mike and I even said it last week when they lost Game 1. We're like, well, he'll come back. Like this whole season, every time he had a bad game, he came back and he would answer. And the Knicks the whole year, and it's just so frustrating. They gave away Game 1, and that you can't give away games when you're not like the Nets, when you're not like loaded like that. You can't give away games. Like you can't give away playoff games. You have to close it when you can. That's it.
Well, I always thought and I always thought this, and this is where I went on Coach Faw's podcast, and it was just so funny to me to hear Knicks fans saying like, "Oh, the Knicks should have won this game. They should have won that game." And I said, I thought all these games were a toss-up. I thought these teams were very even. And I said, Game 2, the Hawks at the end of the game missed every fucking shot that they took. They missed so many shots that could have had that game. And you see when they go back to Atlanta, the Bogdanoviches, the Gallinaris, the Herders, these guys are making shots. And I said this in the tweet, and I mean it, and it wasn't to demean the Knicks. That Knicks crowd in Game 2 won the game for the Knicks. They were unbelievable, okay? This is from a Nets fan. The Knicks crowd in Game 2 was the best playoff crowd I have seen in 10 years. And Alex, you were there. You were part of it. They were unbelievable.
That was one of the craziest.
You take that away, and the Hawk crowd was good. It wasn't the Knicks crowd, but it's still a very good atmosphere crowd. You take that away, you give an Atlanta team a crowd and the difference, and they had no chance. I'm telling you, that crowd in Game 2 with the Knicks won the game for New York. That crowd was the difference, and that crowd wasn't there in Atlanta, and a very good crowd for the Hawks. The Knicks, the Knicks, I think they fell in love with what they had, and Atlanta was like, they got a little confidence in Atlanta. It was a different story. It really was.
Yeah, it was frustrating, man. It just It wasn't even like a different story. It was just I guess I see what you're saying. And yes, the crowd in game 2 was utterly amazing. I've been to maybe hundreds and hundreds of games in my life, playoff games, football, baseball, basketball, even I went to a couple hockey games. Like that was one of the craziest crowds I've ever been a part of, and that is saying something. I've been to hundreds of Jets games, hundreds of Mets games, Knicks games, everything. That was on in the top 3. Like I can't even like tell you. I'm talking about like 1998 playoff game against the Jaguars level, where it was just like you can't understand how excited the fan base was. Like this game was that, and it was insane when Obi Toppin caught that alley oop. I like me and my buddy. I was with my buddy Randall and Matt, and we just jumped on top of each other. Like it was just like you couldn't even you couldn't even understand. It was also like the culmination of everything over the last year is like we are here. Like I don't mean that as in a double meaning. Like we are here. We are actually here. I'm hanging out with you guys. I haven't seen you in forever, and like we're all free. And they're like, oh my god, and they're gonna fucking win, and they're great, and this is amazing. We got out of the arena, and one side of the exit on 7th Avenue was closed, so it made a bottleneck. And that's why there's this huge crowd of people outside of the garden. People think everybody just congregated like that outside because they wanted to party. No, it was just that was the way everybody had to get out. Like, you know, but it just because everybody was so happy and because of the excitement, everybody just started chanting. We were just chanting the whole way. Oh, like and just let's go Knicks and everything. It was just insane. And you know, it just sucks that was all just wasted in the last 2 games in Atlanta. Like they played like absolute crap, and it was like embarrassing level crap. It was like David Fizdale level Knicks. Like, you know, they have a quarter here, a quarter there where they look good, and then all of a sudden it's nothing. I mean, it's very frustrating, man, and it really, really like ruins the season a little bit for me. If they go out sad in 5, like this kind of game over like games 3 and 4, it totally ruins the season for me. It's not going to be on the same pedestal that it was. It'll be a good season. You know, okay, step in the right direction, but it's not the holy crap. How the hell did we just do this? This is amazing. I'm going to remember this forever. It's not going to be that anymore.
You know what I mean? I was at game 1, and that crowd. Yeah. I've been to out of every sporting event I've ever been to in my life. The only comparable event I've been to where the crowd was just insane. My sophomore year at the University of Maryland, my friend and I drove down to Duke, and we saw. And the crowd at Cameron Indoor was just incredible. The energy in there. And for game 1, we were there. It's just, I don't know how you can just go to a Knicks game and just, even if you're like a casual fan and just not get sucked into that like vortex of energy. It's just, it was amazing. It was an amazing thing. The one thing about game 1 though, which is so frustrating, if I recall, I'm actually looking up the stats right now. There were 11 of 15 from the free throw line. So that's 4 points right there. Obviously, it was a 2-point loss. And if you recall, they were up by like 6 or 7. I think they were up by 7 points towards the end of the third quarter. And that's when Lou Williams scored 5 points or so in like the last minute to cut it to 2 going into the fourth quarter. And that right there kind of zapped some of the momentum that they had, because they got off to a slow start in that game. They were down by like 11 or so in the first quarter, and then they battled back, and they were, you know, it was basically neck and neck, but they were in control, I feel like, for most of that second half, like, you know, or at least the third quarter, they're up by like 6-7 points, something like that. But that's where the opportunity was squandered. But we've seen that all year long with the Knicks, where, you know, they have these leads against teams. They're up by 13, 17. It goes down to like 3. There's always that little scare. So they've always had that problem of just kind of putting away the team. So, yeah. But game 3 and game 4, I agree with you, Alex. They got punched and they folded.
They just folded, like, and that's not how they've been.
As Trump would say, like a wet rag, not a cheap suit. Whatever the hell that means, folded like a wet rag.
Well, I believe this, and Alex and I have joked about this a lot on the podcast about like a series doesn't start until the road team wins, and we have fun with that. But I really believe this one. I've seen it enough, and Dolan, you've seen this, that role players seem to play better at home. It just happens. Those guys just seem to play better. And the
more confident,
And the herder, and I said this before, but the herders, the Gallows, and Alex, you got on this with a tweet, and I said to you, I was like, John Collins is going to play better. And you gave me shit for it. I was like, he's not going to put up 0 points. Like John Collins is going to be better than this. And he's a decent player. He averaged 18, 19 points per game, and that made a difference. And the biggest difference for the Knicks is Randall's been bad. I mean, that's point blank simple. Atlanta has a star. New York has a star. Atlanta's star has played well in Trae Young. He's been good. He's gotten to the basket. He's made shots. He's distributed. And Randall's been, I know he put up like a nearly triple double today, and he had some nice passes
But
to teammates.
hollow stats.
But it's
They're
not
hollow stats.
It's
Yeah,
not,
they're-
when you're
yeah.
shooting 25% from the field, it's just different. And Randall playing like this, the Knicks don't have a chance. And you saw in the second half today versus Atlanta, when Rose set back, the Knicks were cooked because Rose kept them in the game playing like vintage D Rose. And then the second he got back to like this, average kind of backup point guard, the Knicks were screwed and they had no other options. But Alex, I'll leave this to you, and Dolan, you can chime in as well. I'm really interested. So much chatter for Payton not to play or not to start. So then he doesn't start. They go with Rose. The bench takes a hit. Then we don't even see Elfrid in the second unit. Should we have seen Elfrid in the second unit?
Yes.
And do you agree with the
Absolutely
do you agree
not.
with the switch?
I disagree with you. No way.
And do you agree with the
Alex.
switch then to put Rose in there to start the his
Well,
point?
let me get a quick one in, and then I want to hear your thoughts on it, Dolan. So I think I said all year Elfrid should not be starting. Should not be starting. Quickly should be starting. Quickly should be starting. Obviously, Quickly is not ready right now for the playoffs, and Rose is playing out of his mind that Rose has to start. Elfrid was so bad, whatever. But Elfrid didn't need to be out of the rotation completely. Like, you need to have him in there. He's built up continuity with the team. He's been the starting point guard the entire season. I know he's stunk most of the season, but he's had his good games here and there. My point the whole year was he could be a good backup. Give me 10, 15 minutes at Elfrid and I'll be okay. He shouldn't have just been a DMPCD for 2 games after starting the entire season. I just bizarre. And doing that, like, why didn't you do that a month left of the season? This is not the time to try to what's the word I'm looking for? To experiment. I'm sorry, it's late. Try to experiment with rotations in the middle of the first round of the playoffs. Why are you experimenting with rotations? You want to switch Rose with Payton? Then you can mess with that, and that's fine. But like getting a whole entire new rotation like right now and bring Frank in here and there cold and like it's just bizarre. I don't know. Go ahead. Let me hear what you have to say.
No. I agree with you that like I wouldn't have. I mean, the reason why you got to put Elf on the shelf at this point, he is so in his own head for the past month or so. You can't even find.
That's fair.
I think the last time he actually had a decent game was the Friday night game in Dallas, where he faked out Porzingis on. He gave them some good minutes. Other than that, he's been a complete zero, where he's not giving anything on offense or defense. And I actually, for the past month, many people heard me say this, but I wanted them to put Ntilikina in just for that first wave of the Elfrid minutes, because what Frank can do, it's more team basketball where he first of all, he plays better defense than Elfrid. He can actually hit an outside 3-pointer with better efficiency than him, right? And at least he's done it this year. But also, like, if you remember those 2 passes that he had in particular, just stand out. I think they were both against the LA teams. Remember those bounce passes he had to Taj? I'm like, that right there, that unselfish play. He's just, if you tell Frank Ntilikina, Frank, you're going to do this for 7 minutes, you're just going to play good defense, don't force anything. I feel like he would abide by that game plan, whereas Elfrid would do those stupid running floaters and then jog
Hero
back
ball.
on defense.
Yeah.
It's just unnecessary. So, but they should have done this the last couple of games this season when they clinched the a playoff berth without going into
above
the
the 6
tournament.
Right.
That's where I thought Frank should have been starting those last couple of games, and you should have had like Elfrid.
Yeah, that's when you mess with the rotation.
Yes.
When it's not do or die.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would actually still, I know it's like it looks desperate if you do it. I would actually want, I did not like, at first when I heard that Derrick Rose was starting game 3, I was all amped up. I'm sure like every other Knicks fan, but they need him with the second unit badly. And I think I would have started Frank today instead, which I know sounds very drastic because like what the hell is Frank Ntilikina going to do? But at least it just gives another look at the Hawks defensively. He's got the long arms. He's bigger than Trey, or he's just a versatile defender. So I would have just gone with him, because when you're starting Derrick Rose against these guys, he's got to chase around Bogdanovich or Trey. You're just exhausting him with his energy. So that's my take on it.
It's just weird to have somebody that's the starter, and then the first 2 games of the playoffs is the starter, and then doesn't have minutes. It's a weird concept.
Very weird.
Something you don't just see happen very often. Like with the Nets, that happened with DeAndre Jordan, and people made fun of it, and people made fun of DeAndre, and the people made fun of the contract. But it was 20 games left in the season. They said, you're not playing any more basketball with the Brooklyn Nets. And he just got benched, and he hasn't seen a sniff since. It's a similar situation in the idea of the guy that was starting, and then you were like, why is he starting? and now he hasn't seen the court. But with the Knicks, to have Payton be the starter and be confused about it. And I love how, fans are always so much smarter than the coaching staff. They know everything and nobody else knows anything. You can't play Elfrid Payton. He has to bench. Well, here's what happened, Knicks fans. You're listening to this podcast. You lost both games where you asked for that. So maybe you don't know as much as Coach Tibbs does. So don't give him
Mike, if they had played Elfrid Payton, they would have. You don't understand. Like every game they start him, they fall behind.
But they won the games. They won the games. Ultimately, they won. So get me W's. Get me W's. I don't care how you get there. You get W's. You're right. Every game they fell behind, but they didn't fall behind in game 2. They won the fucking game.
I think this is a bigger issue with Julius Randle and RJ Barrett until today, unable to make jump shots. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I can't give up. RJ's 21 years old. Whatever.
20.
He's 20 years old. He's having a bad series, but it's just he's going through the growing pains of playing 20. In the playoffs.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? RJ's going to be a very good NBA All-Star player. He's just right now not showing it, but he's a baby.
Well, he played very well today, so that's promising. So hopefully, if they can win Game 5 and he plays well again, and then if Julius can get some momentum going, some positive momentum, maybe it's not over yet. No. But the problem with Julius Randle's, and this is what's killing me when I'm watching these games, is just the overall philosophy of even today, just get out. Establish some type of positive momentum where you're try to do some pick and roll where you can get at the top of the key one-on-one against John Collins. He's got about 15 to 20 pounds on John Collins. Go right at him, absorb some contact, get him in foul trouble, get to the line or whatever. If you drive, kick it out. Instead, it's just this this little step back three. But
he's been hitting that all year. Randle's been hitting those shots all year. Yeah. That's true. I hear you.
But he's in a slump. So that's why I'm saying for now, since he is slumping, just try to get just try to get that first shot in, as opposed to all of a sudden he misses his first 2 shots. Then you wonder, oh wait, now he's 1 of 4. I'm sure he's mentally in his head thinking oh my god, missed my first 3 shots again today. That's why I'm saying he needs to go to the hoop and just I don't know. That's what I think.
It's just generally when you're changing your starting lineup in the middle of a playoff series, you're done. I know we wanted Elfrid out, we wanted this, we wanted that, but there's so many times. If you look at I was just looking it up, I couldn't think of the year, but it was 2012 when the Knicks played the Heat in the first round. They had no chance against LeBron, the real big 3 of LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, but they teetered with their starting lineup midway through the series, and they had Novak starting one game, Baron Davis one game. It was just like a mess. You know what I mean? That's just panic mode. You're we got to do something. It's just when you get to that point, it's either Elfrid's your starter or he's not. And I know I didn't want him to start. It's just I wanted it just to switch rows with Elfrid. I'm repeating myself now, not revamp the entire freaking rotation. It just doesn't it's too much. The people don't know their roles. They don't know when they're coming in. And it's just Quickly is not in as much as he should be. And then Burks is not a real point guard. He's playing point guard. It's just what are we doing right now?
But that's why I thought Frank, if you're going to play how Elfrid was playing the first 5 minutes of the game, that's why I thought Frank would have been a seamless transition over to him.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why just come in. If your whole role is just come on in, play defense, just you can be another ball handler on the court. And at least Frank can hit a 3-pointer as opposed to Elfrid who can't. That's why I thought, Frank at the end of the day, this is a little skewed, 47% from 3 this year. So, he's obviously he's not Joe Harris level shooting, but he did show he did show knack this year to be able to hit an open 3-pointer. So that's why I was more in favor of him.
Yeah, and a lot of this talk is nice, but a lot of it is nobody's guarding Trae Young. They can't stop him. At the end of this game, Julius Randle's pushing down Gallinari, but where were we pushing down Trae earlier in the series?
Right, knock Trae on his ass. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's been my frustration as well. Yeah,
Bogdanovich is hitting everything wide open. Herter is hitting everything. The Knicks defense was bad, and the Knicks were the Hawks were getting anything they wanted, and they were hitting perimeter shots, and they went on spurts fast, 7-0, 8-0, 9-0 runs, and Atlanta just put distance in between the Knicks, and this thing got out of hand quickly, and there was just no responses every time Atlanta had a run, nothing,
right,
every time,
and it's frustrating for me because those are the 2 guys the Knicks could have easily signed this offseason, Bogdanovich and Gallinari, and wouldn't have hurt their future. They easily could have been on the Knicks, and then this is a different series, and they might not even be in this series. They could be even better. Who knows, So it just goes. It's just frustrating, man, because it's just this is why I got to stop arguing with people on like these kids on Twitter where it's just they take your words and they flip them and it's just you're like not getting what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I put out something like, it ruins the season if they lose in game 5 and people are like, what? That's ridiculous. I can't believe you'd say that. Why are people like this and that? What a crazy take. I'm like, it's not a crazy take. You guys just have a loser mentality. Like, you know what I mean? It's just a loser mentality. Like, oh, well, you know what? Screw it. We weren't supposed to be here anyway. Not yet, man. It's in the middle of the freaking series. Like, I'm so mad. Like, we could win this series. It's a winnable series. We're not playing the Sixers. If it was the Sixers series, you get to round 2. You're like, all right, you know what? F it. We lose. We're down 3-0, whatever. Let's try to win a game and like go home with our pride. You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't make any, it's just weird. I think it's just the last 20 years. I know we had a couple good years here and there. And like the 3 years with Melo, they made the playoffs, and 1 year with Marbury, which was a fake playoff year. But like, it's just, we have birthed a whole entire generation, and even the people that are like our age, like in our mid to late 30s and over, you're just so used to garbage that you're like, oh my God, look at this team. We're in the playoffs. Like whatever. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's just, no, it's not okay. Like win this fucking series. You could do it. What the hell? Like what's our problem? Why are we okay with being terrible? Why are we okay with having a parade outside on 7th Avenue after you won one playoff game? Like that was fun. I was in the middle of it cheering and whatever. I wasn't dancing in the streets. I was out of there as quick as I could. But I just don't understand why that's your bar. Like, why are you that excited about that? And then you're like, okay, whatever. We lost these games. The series over. Big fucking deal. We weren't supposed to be here anyway.
What I don't understand about all of that too is, and I think the Knicks could come back and they can win games because I don't think Atlanta's that much better. I think Atlanta's just played better. So with that, I think the Knicks, I would have them win game 5 and then go into Atlanta. Things can change fast, and it's just one game switch. Right. What I don't understand is the Knick mentality, and I said this before, like maybe, and Dolan, you know this because you used to be a Nets fan. I'm like, you cannot take anything for granted. Every game, I'm like, I don't know who the fuck's gonna win. I went into this Nets Celtic game, and like younger Net fans are like, oh, we got this. I'm like, I've seen so much shit in my life. I got to see the win. I can't understand the Knick fan that came into this Hawks series like, oh, we got this in 5. And I'm like, you guys had the same record. Both teams were playing great basketball. I was like, this is a toss-up series to me. And I said that. I'm surprised with how good Atlanta's been. I thought this was a flip-up series. I am so surprised at how confident the Knicks fan was going into this series. And then to say what you're saying, how they're backtracking so fast. Oh, we had a good year. You can't have both. Don't tell me how confident you were going to win the fucking series and then say at the same time, oh, we're having a good year. No, if you were that confident you're going to win, then you should be disappointed.
I take personal responsibility for this because we were doing so much winning, and I was promising all this winning, and we were winning by the likes of which no one's ever seen before. And now we're terrible temperature.
I'm like, oh, okay, keep going.
No, but I agree. What annoys me though with the whole with just the whole mentality of the Knicks and how they come out these games is like you have beat them with your physicality. Like you're the more physical team. And I'm not advocating for someone to take a cheap shot at Trae Young and get him hurt. But when he comes into the lane for his little floater, foul him hard. You know why? Because that's going to then be in the back of his mind every time he comes into the paint, every time after that. So use up one of your fouls early on, whether it's whoever, Taj Gibson, Reggie Bullock, whatever, you know what I mean? And just send that little message from you're not coming to this paint anymore without us, whatever. It doesn't need to be a flagrant.
I got you. No, it was like Bullock's foul on Hunter on the fast break. It was a little dirty, but he threw him to the ground. He's like, you know what? I'm not gonna be able to guard you, and I just want to make a. That happened right in front of me. I gave a standing ovation to yeah, and everybody around me, everybody just got up and started cheering and on. Like, yeah, we fouled you hard. Stay the hell down, you bitch. You know what I mean? Like, do something like that. Like, get in their head, and you know what I mean? Like, won that game. I mean, it wasn't just because of that, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like. Show some toughness. Trae Young is like dancing on you and taunting you and talking shit, and you guys are just taking it and then give a cheap shot foul on some backup at the end of the game. It's just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like you have it all backwards. You're like the guy who shows up for the fight when the fight is already over. Like, yeah, we did it. Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, it was a tough fight. Like
that's actually where Elfrid Payton would be useful for a hard foul. However, though,
or Theo, put Theo in. Let Theo knock someone out.
it's got to be from someone who's going to be on the court more than the 3 minutes. Because if it comes from like Taj or Reggie Bullock, then it'll be in his head, or even Julius if he comes into the lane. Because listen, I don't think Julius Randle's going to be in foul trouble guarding John Collins or Gallinari. All those guys do is shoot from the outside for the most part. So just send a message, get in his head. And Mike, I agree with you. The momentum can flip. Let's say hypothetically speaking, let's say the Knicks win Game 5. They shoot the lights out. Atlanta is cold. We got the crowd behind us. Now, all of a sudden, if you think about it, it goes back to Atlanta. The pressure's on Atlanta to close out there because then it's got to come back to the Garden.
Yes.
So, it's like they have to, I don't know, the momentum could change pretty
Knicks
quickly.
have 2 home games left, and they earned it.
Right.
And they have 2 home
That's why
games.
this game sucks so much. Like not winning one of these in Atlanta or losing Game 1. Because if they win Game 1, these 2 in Atlanta, you're just like, all right, well, we got a best of 3 series coming up. Let's go. You know what I mean? That's it. And you got the 2 home games, and you're confident. Now it's like, fuck.
We're done.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. I'll be the Dick Net fan for 1 minute. My favorite play of the Knick game was the Reggie Bullock fast break where he traveled.
Yeah, that was pathetic.
That was my favorite.
Oh, when he could have went up and he tried to pass and he was smiling and he started smiling. I'm like, nothing's funny here, Reggie. Like, you know what I mean? Oh God, that was bad. Thanks, Mike.
But what I was going to also say is that what was I going to say? Just totally forgot.
You were gonna say you wish being a Nets fan. That's what you're gonna say.
You stayed a Nets fan.
That's all right.
How was that Nets game, Mike? How was the Nets game? Because I didn't watch any of it. Like I said, I was out to dinner.
The Nets
I don't know if I said that on the podcast. But
I said this. I was watching with my dad and my wife and my son. I said, Celtics are going to come out hot. They've got all this energy. And first of all, they didn't have Williams and Rob Williams. They didn't have Kemba Walker. I mean, the Nets. There's no excuses here. Okay, like the Nets got to
win this one.
The Celtics came out hot. They were up 10, and then the Nets just turned it on and they just bludgeoned the Celtics. Durant was amazing. Kyrie was amazing. Harden was amazing, and Nick Claxton gave good defensive minutes, and they just beat the shit out of them. I mean, they really did, and it was just refreshing to see. It was good to see because I got annoyed with everybody on like Twitter being like Nets Bucks. I'm like, you gotta beat the Celtics, man. Like just look in front of you. They're not playing the Bucks.
Mike,
they're still not playing the Bucks.
But this is like 30 years of being a Nets fan insecurities coming out. I mean, you have 3 Hall of Famers going up against Jason.
Doesn't matter, man. You play what's in front of you. Seriously, you play what's in front
get through
of you.
one round and get to the next one. Yeah.
You can't look ahead. Jason Tatum's one of the best players in the league, and that guy showed it. I was like, let's
Tatum against the 3 Nets, and plus, and you got
don't care. I hear you, but I don't know. You just play what's on your skin. You can't be in the playoffs thinking about the next round. That's just not right. I'm sorry, it isn't.
It's like you're tempting fate, like you're messing with something there, like
and
a higher
I've seen
power.
Crazier shit. I've seen crazier shit, but Nets beat up Boston. There's not much to say, man. They just beat the crap out of them. I think the interesting part of the game was at the end when someone's throwing a bottle like Kyrie. They found the guy, they took him out, but it was like
good.
Here we go again with that. But it was for the net perspective. I think the best part of it was the first time they had a little bit of adversity, up 2-1, had to face a Celtic team that was desperate and face a crowd for the first time that was that amped up. A full house of the Celtic fans is a good crowd, and they just took them out right away. And that was good to see. But other than that, let's go Tuesday. Let's end this series and get out of Dodge and take 5, and then let's get to Milwaukee. Let's beat them up.
Yeah, no, you should feel that way. What are your thoughts on the Kyrie situation with Boston and how like Boston fans are getting on him? Obviously, the racist shit is way past the line. It's not, you can't even see the line. It's so far away. It's a dot. But what I'm saying is like, people like he's getting mad at the Celtics fans wanting to boo him, and he's like, other fans are joining in on that, saying like they shouldn't be so mad at him. What did they expect? Like Kyrie left the Celtics. He promised he'd stay, and then he left. Like that's no matter what city, you're gonna hate them. If Kyrie said I'm gonna stay with the Nets and then he leaves for
what it is,
for the
Alex?
Knicks next year, you would hate him too.
When I don't care. And I don't care when you're in the moment and you're going. Like from my standpoint, I can't. I don't care about what Kyrie was as a Celtic. Just like if I said, "Hey Alex, hey Dolan, do you care about how fans feel about Julius Randle and the Lakers and how he did?" You go,
New Orleans.
No,
yeah.
I don't give a fuck. All I care about is he was the most improved player for the Knicks and how well he played.
It's a little different though. I see what you're saying.
I know
it's kind of like Dwight Howard leaving the Magic, like one of those situations. You know what I mean? Like
different,
something like that.
But from my end, all I'm concerned with is my bubble. And I have to feed into my bubble and understand that. And I get that, and I get how passionate the Celtic fan is, but I'm going to root for my guy, and I'm going to root for him to be good, and I want him to win. And I'm concerned, like, before the playoffs started, the big talking point was, will Kyrie Irving miss playoff games? That hasn't been a talking point. You know why? Because it was a stupid one, and it was one that's manufactured for people to listen. He's going to play fucking playoff games. He's going to be there. And now the whole talking point is Kyrie Irving going to Boston? Is it fair for them to be yelling at him? You know what he did? He put up 39 points, and he shut everybody up. It's the same story over and over again. He's just going to go out, and when it's ready, he's going to perform. He had a bad game 3. He wasn't ready for it. He was in his head. Game 4, he showed up, and he was great. And I just don't care. I mean that. Like, I don't care. I don't care about the past. I don't care what Celtic fans think. I don't care what Knicks fans think. I want to win a championship. And when he's on there, he's playing great. And I love Kyrie Irving, and I love what he's given the Nets effort. And I'm so excited for what I've seen from him. And I'm ready to close out Game 5. And I just don't care. I just don't.
So what are your thoughts on the Bucks series? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Talk to me next week, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Bucks and 6.
I hope not. It's gonna be.
Hey,
Bucks are good.
Bucks are no joke, man. People are overlooking them.
If the Bucks are smart with Brook Lopez, they'll put him on the low block because he can score down low, and the Nets are forced to play DeAndre Jordan.
Hey,
DeAndre Hunter.
Nah, he ain't playing. Hopefully Jeff Green comes back.
Who's going to defend? If you put Lopez on the low block at 7 feet, was he 265 pounds? Who's defending him?
You're right. You know what?
Griffin
The reason the Bucks are going to win the
man.
series is because Brook Lopez is going to go in the post against the Nets.
Well, if they use him as instead of having him camped out on the 3-point line, launching up threes, and actually using his size to their advantage, because what's the Nets' Achilles heel?
The Achilles heel is getting beat on the glass.
Yes. Okay. Brook Lopez.
I understand that, but if the Nets lose to the Bucks, the reason it's not going to be because Brook Lopez had 30.
It'll be a.
He's
part.
not a good rebounder either.
I'm not
saying.
I'm not saying Brook Lopez is going for 30, but if you're using him to score in that,
I would agree. No, I agree.
Instead of him taking 12 3-pointers, making 4 of them.
I agree.
Right.
I agree. That's a smarter strategy.
What I'm saying. Yes.
But it's not. If the Nets lose to the Bucks, because Giannis kicked their ass.
Giannis and Middleton and Drew Holiday.
Yeah, it's not going to be because those little things will make a difference. But I'm telling you,
it'll be frustrating though. Game 7, Brook Lopez hits the winner.
And I know
to
it's
beat the
going to
Nets.
happen.
You're going to be really pissed.
I know it's going to happen. Game 5, 2-2. Bucks take a 3-2 lead. Lopez 21 points in the
goes
post.
off. Yeah.
And I'm going to get all these fucking tweets from you, Dolan. Hey, at Mike Delivers Pod, Brook Lopez 7 for 9 from the inside.
You may see Brook Lopez visit the Oval Office, a Square office, not the Oval Office.
And by the way, don't forget to check out the Dolan Team Shop while you're there.
Yes. Make sure you buy the T-shirts, the Garden Boys T-shirts. That's a good one. Or Weed the Garden masks. So I don't know, man. This sucks. That's all I have to say. I'm just upset. Like, to go back to the Knicks, to bring it right back really quick, to put a bow on that. Just the loser mentality is it's driving me crazy, man. Like, I'm not ready to reflect. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I was upset in 2013 when the Knicks lost. I was upset. I was really mad. Melo got blocked by Hibbert, and they should have won that series. It's kind of like this one. They didn't get to that last series where you're like, all right, they have no shot. It's all house money with like the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals that year. But like, I wasn't ready. But now I look back on that season in fond memories. Like, oh, it was really good. It was a great year. We won a round. It was 54 wins. I'm not ready for that here. And I don't think that this year is that. I mean, this year was way more fun and exciting because they were the 4 seed and they weren't supposed to be here. But if they go out sad like this in 5, like, like that's just not that it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It's kind of like eating something good right after brushing your teeth. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't taste as good. It's just not like, I'll remember this season. It was fun. It was great. It could be the start of something, down the road. It could be like the first like jumping point. Like I referred to like, the Cubs in 2015, but it's not like, it's just, I can't explain it. It's just like, just going out before you're supposed to is just not how I just don't like it. I don't like the fans that excuse it. Yeah.
Right.
Go down at 7. Go down at 6.
Exactly.
Go down fighting. Don't go out sad. Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I don't think they're going to go down. I don't think they're going to go down with a whimper in Game 5. And if I'm the coach, if I'm them, I'm like, you know what? Let Julius. I wouldn't even let them
40
clear
shots.
their minds. Let him clear his mind tomorrow. Be like, just
go get
spend
a
the day with
massage.
spend the day with your family, like just get back into a good headspace as opposed to being at the gym and taking like 300 shots. Like, that's what I think he needs at this point. And like I said, the fact that RJ had a good performance today, I think bodes well for, hopefully we can carry that into game 5. Cause obviously we've seen RJ be streaky this year. So if when he's off, obviously it carries over for a few games. And then once he has a good game, he'll continue that. So, so I think that's what, but at the end of the day, I think I hear what you're saying though. Yes, it ruins it, but the loser mentality is surprising. Maybe that's just all the 20 years of PTSD that Knicks fans have, just like, but I agree. Like the whole, we weren't supposed to be here this year. So whatever, it's fine.
But like Mike said before, when he expanded
right.
Like Mike expanded off my point earlier in the podcast where I said the loser mentality thing and people are just giving up. And coming into the series, it's like, we want the Hawks. We're going to beat the Hawks. We can beat them. We're the better team. We got the 4 seed. We got home court. We can beat them. And now it's like, we got punched in the mouth. Like, we're not supposed to be here anyway. Big deal.
Well, it's a coping mechanism.
It's a great season.
It's a coping mechanism.
I guess I'm not.
I don't know. I'm not thinking along those lines. I'm fighting like hell at this point too.
I want to
the next round. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be shocked if the Knicks can win.
Because what?
Because you're a Nets fan at heart, so that's how you react.
Nah.
I do think there's a chance the Knicks can
you
surprise
gotta take out
us,
basketball from me. You can have the Yanka jersey if you want. That's a collector's item.
Yanka Stinka, man. Delaware, right?
Yanka the Stinka. R.I.P.
You go Delaware?
No, George Washington. George Washington. Sorry.
Delaware.
I don't know where that came from. I'm worried about doing this jersey number thing with you here.
About that. Yeah. No, honestly, I think the Knicks could I think there's an outside chance the Knicks could still win the series and or at least take it to 7, like surprise us in game 5 that, obviously they have to win. It's a must-win game, obviously, for the next every game the rest of the series. But I think that there's a good chance they win game 5. And then if they can steal game, I think that there's a chance they can take it to 7. I don't know what will happen then, but there's a chance. I don't see it. I have to see them really wake up. But like you said, Mike, the crowd, really brings the best out of them. So we'll see. But the crowd might not be as live for game 5 after seeing what the fuck happened in Atlanta and what they did.
They'll be into it. They'll be into it. They will be. I don't think you're going to get that kind of crowd. I think that was a once in a lifetime kind of crowd for the first round, at least. Right. Let me rephrase that. You get a game 7 back there, I think you're going to get a lively crowd. I think you're going to get a great crowd, and the Garden Faithful has been there. It'll be interesting to see Atlanta in this game too. What they bring after. But if they come in there trying to get the series, if they come in and Bogdanovich and Gallinari and Herter and Solomon Hill, like what kind of effort these guys bring in that game, or they take it lightly, like, hey, we've got game 6, we can take the night off. I'll be interested to see Atlanta how they come into that game. I expect them to bring it. I'd be surprised if they took the night off. I'd be surprised.
What's also interesting as well is that if, let's say the Knicks win, I'm fully expecting them to win game 5, an inspiring effort. You go back to Atlanta, and I'm piggybacking on the idea I said before about the pressures now in Atlanta. Atlanta is inexperienced in the playoffs where it's who are they going to turn to if they get off to a slow start in game 6 and they find themselves in an early hole and they can't. Who's the veteran who's been in the playoffs that
Vince
they can
Carter
turn to?
He's going to come out.
Who is it? It's like Lou Williams and Clint Capella. That's basically it, right?
No,
and they've been on teams those are guys that have been on teams that have choked in the playoffs.
Yeah, so positive in here. You're going with we're at game 6. Who are we going to turn to for the Hawks? Things are turning up. I like it.
I'm not me, man. I'm as down as I can be right now. And the other thing I didn't like was were the kinds of fans after game 3, when they lost, where they're like, oh, everybody relax, breathe. It's just one bad playoff game. This team is so tough. Enjoy the season. It's Friday. Have some perspective. Shut up. Fuck you. You know what I mean? If you're not gonna be stressed out in the playoffs, you're not gonna be nervous. Your team's down 2-1, and your best players haven't shown up yet to that point. Then when the hell are you allowed to be nervous? Like, when the hell are you allowed to worry? You know what? Like, go fuck yourself. Like, that's all I have to say. I'm sorry.
The one thing that kills me also is just how
people know who I'm talking about.
How you have these people, these members of, I don't know if they're members of Antifa or not, but how they're turning on Julius. And what kills me is that Julius Randle worked so hard.
Too far.
He worked so hard to obviously get to this point this year. He's obviously a great guy. and you have people like he's losing all this money and like we should just trade him or whatever it is, and just completely souring on him. It just sucks that like this guy has been like the bedrock of this team all year long, and now quickly people just have turned on him so quickly. So that's
he's just had a bad playoffs. I mean, he just has not shown up in the big spot. But I don't think you can abandon him for what he's done, and I still think he'll be a great player for you next year. He's just been bad. He's just been bad. It's simple.
I think there's so many things. I think it's the playoff nerves. I think it's the shot selection, but I also think it's just they lack a true offensive threat. So the problem is when you have Noel on the court or Taj Gibson, Capella doesn't really have to worry about him. So then you have and then when Elfrid was on the court also, they can just double triple team him, no problem. So he's just constantly surrounded by a million Hawks players. And that's why I almost think they really need to go with they started to experiment a little bit today. Go with the lineup of Toppin and Randall at parts. And now, Alex, you're going to say you're experimenting now in Game 5 of the playoffs, but you have to at this point. What do you mean? Because what's the Albert Einstein line? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is insanity, right?
Definition of insanity.
Right. So try something new. And you know why? Because I think if you have the two of those guys together, and Obi's looked phenomenal. It's amazing how much that guy has grown in the playoffs, which is really promising for his future. But let's say, for instance, you put Julius at the 5. That takes Capella away from the hoop. And that just hopefully opens up lanes where guys can get to the basket, because Atlanta is not, with the exception of Capella, Atlanta is not physically imposing. So
yeah, and Reggie Bullock played like crap in this game.
If he doesn't have it, get him off the court.
If he's not hitting those threes, yeah.
There you have it again. In Atlanta, he wasn't great. Alex Burks was okay. He had a couple shots. Going back to New York, he'll be a different player. And it was just everything went wrong. Randall went to the basket, elbowed Collins, bloody lip, reversed the call, going the other way. All the little things like that just seemed to go against Julius Randle, and he just could not find his footing. And the Hawks go in, take care of business. They do what they're supposed to do. They win both games at home, and they have a 3-1 lead going into New York Tuesday. I'm making Alex
Mike
smile.
Wednesday.
It's
gonna be a long wait, but it's Wednesday.
What's so funny?
I feel like Mike is like the adult in the room in this one. You're like finishing all the points for us.
Well, he's a Nets fan, so he's a Nets fan, so he's telling us how it's like to how it's done. Rebuilds.
Well, you know what? Yeah, fine.
You're like, yeah, I'll own it. Yeah, sure.
Dolan,
it was a compliment.
Nets fan, man. I've been waiting and you're not a Nets fan anymore, and that's fine. But I've been waiting my whole life for something like this, and I'm so enjoying the moment. You're right, and I will look ahead for a moment. The Nets-Bucks series is going to be extremely stressful, extremely difficult, and extremely fun.
Especially when they have no answer for Brook Lopez.
And with Lopez is down low, putting all those points in the paint, it's going to be exhilarating stuff.
No, it's going to be a great series because you have the Drew Holiday Kyrie matchup. I think PJ Tucker is the type of player to get under Durant's skin a little bit. I think it's going to be a really interesting series.
It will be.
Yeah.
And real quick, Mike, what do you think? And Dolan, what do you think if the Knicks lose to the Hawks and it's Hawks Sixers? How many games does it take the Sixers to win that series? There's no way the Hawks are winning in that series. I know we're looking ahead, and I don't want to count my chickens, but I'm just curious what you guys think.
5 or 6.
Yeah, probably 5 or 6. Yeah.
Wow. I think it's going to be 4 or 5. I think it's going to be like that easy for them. I don't think the Hawks are this good. I think the Knicks are just
Bucks, Alex. What do you think Nets Bucks is?
That's going 7. I don't know. Honestly, it's a toss-up.
This is why I'm so happy the Nets got the home court, though. I mean, seriously, like
right.
Those
the regular season. The regular season, right?
They
really came back. Yeah, they matter.
Oh my God!
All right,
it's nice to
want to go do the
Nets game.
Yeah, the poll question real quick.
Let's. We doing jerseys?
We can do poll because it kind of like goes into what we were talking about. How about that? Is that okay?
We're not doing jerseys.
We do jerseys. We'll do jerseys after. We've been doing that the last couple of ones. Yeah, I'll just do it. It's fine.
I haven't seen this poll question tonight, so I'm curious.
No, I just put it up right before the show. Put it up for about a half hour. I forgot to do it because I was so mad, and I was drinking and pounding wings with my friends, and then I went out to dinner with the future in-laws. It's been a long day. That's why I couldn't think of the word experiment. Okay, anyway, so Knicks fans, are the Knicks coming back and winning this series? Yes, no, they're done in 5. No, they're done in 6. No, they're done in 7. So either yes, they're going to win, obviously, in 7. No, they're going to lose in 5. No, they're going to lose in 6. And no, they're done in 7. What do you think won?
Dolan, go ahead.
They're going to lose in 6.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that was the one that won 39.1%, done in 6. 29.9% said yes, they're going to win the series. So that was second. That's crazy. No, they're done in 5 is 25%, and no, done in 7 is 5.4%. I think there's a better chance that they lose in 7 than they win the series. I think that's I'll put it that way. That's my thoughts.
That'd be so awful though if they came back, forced a game 7, then lost. It was like when
at home, yeah,
right, exactly. It's like shades of Ewing missing that finger roll layup.
Oh my god, yeah.
Sorry to bring back the painful memories.
Yeah, that was a fun time. Let me tell you. No, but honestly, if they get to 7 and then they lose in a heartbreaker in game 7, it'll suck in that moment. But at least I could be like, all right, this team came back, showed me something. This wasn't a wasted season. It was a great year, building block. We got this.
It's still not a wasted season. I don't want to go to this.
If they go out sad and they lose by, if they lose by 20, if they lose by not wasted. I'm sorry, wasted is too far. You're right. If they lose by 20 and they go out sad, or they're just not competitive and they're not even close the whole game, like in game 3, then it takes it off the pedestal. It's not what the season was. It just takes it down a notch, and that notch is really a lot lower than what it was. You know what I mean? It's just, I know things, it could still be the building block. It's just not what I thought. Like this season was so like high on my life, Knicks seasons. You know what I mean?
What about Alex? What if they win game 5, inspiring effort? Let's say they win by 9 points, 11 points, something like that. Game 6, good first quarter, close first quarter. Midway through the second quarter, Atlanta goes on like some 17-3 extended run over 5 minutes where that's the end of it. It's like, and right there, you're going to the half like down 15 points. You're like, and that's how the season ends.
That'll be rough, but that at least they showed me something and they came back, like not just this one crazy win in game 2 and then that's it. You know what I mean? Like you got to win at least 2 games in this series if you're gonna, you know what I mean? Like you gotta show up. You can't just like fold, because if they lose in game 5 and then they're done, like I keep repeating myself, then that means you lost 3 or 4, and it's just I don't know, 4. I mean 4, like 3 in a row. It's just I know I can't even speak anymore. I'm so freaking tired, but. No, I mean, if they lose in 5, it'll be like down a notch, and 6, I'll be okay. But I don't know. I'm repeating myself. Anyway, some shout outs. Okay, so I'm rambling because I'm gonna fall asleep on the mic right now. So we got let's see, the Burns. So he's at the Buns 3. To be fair, we have 2 of the possible 3 games at home. All we have to do is ride the crowd for 2 games, do the job that needs to be done, and just third time's the charm. Game 6, and bam. Win in 7. Sweep the 76ers after Embiid gets caught up in rape allegations. Then Eastern Conference Finals, baby. Oh, my God. Like, where did that go? That went...
Is that the guy who's got the Patrick? He's got a Patrick Ewing cartoon.
Yeah, cartoon picture.
Yeah.
The rape thing came out of the fields. God forbid, man. Jeez. All right, so we have my boy Alex Terranova. He's at Alex Terra 03. He goes, I believe in this team, and we've been down before. Knicks in 7. See, that's a fan. He's just excited. He just is trying to believe in his team. Then we have Eater. I don't agree with him, Alex. That's my boy, but I don't agree with you. But Eater Calixto, he's at BKE Cali. Voted yes, but only if we sacrifice Knox in the first quarter and punch Trey and give him a black eye. So have Knox come out and just knock Trey out real quick, and then we got a shot. Is what Eater is telling us. Then we have X David. He's at D Soul Mets 12. He goes, we're done thanks to Randall. Doesn't matter how they pretty much it doesn't matter. Then we have our boy Coonies. He goes, he gave me the anything is possible gif. The Garnett anything is possible gif. So that's what he gave me. Then we have last one, everything Knicks. He's at everything Knicks without the G. He goes, the fan in me wants to say yes. Game 5, ride the crowd. Game 6, we win a close one. And game 7, we win again at home. But my heart tells me it's probably not likely. So that's what we do. That's it. That's the shout out. That's the whole question. Yeah, they were good ones.
You want to do some
jerseys?
Jerseys. Yeah, I'm a little nervous with Dolan here.
So jersey,
you want to do Nick? You want to do Nick jerseys or Nick?
I feel like I got all the pressure right now. I feel like the Atlanta Hawks in Game 6 coming back. All the pressure's on me right now. I'm expected to close it out.
Let's get there first.
Do you want to do Nick jerseys or net jerseys?
Well, let's explain the game. So
knows the
jersey
game.
number trivia. We did every episode in the beginning when we first figured it out. We were doing a jersey number by that episode, but since we're in the 60s, we're picking random numbers. Okay, now proceed.
Dolan, do you want to pick? Do you want to guess Nets or you want to guess Knicks?
It's got to be Nets. I mean, I don't really have I'm a precocious neophyte when it comes to the Knicks stuff.
So you want to guess Nets?
Sure.
Okay. You want me to go first, Alex, with your Knicks?
Yeah. Whatever you want.
All right. I got number 20 for the Knicks, 2018.
Kevin Knox?
No.
No.
He's currently on the Pacers.
Oh, is that Doug McDermott?
Dolan.
Oh, so I wouldn't have gotten that, man. Damn, that was good.
Only
That
because
was
you
a
said the
good one.
Pacers. Yeah.
Yeah.
No idea what number he was.
No, that was a good one. See,
Nice
you do know
work.
stuff.
Nice work. Nice work. Nice work.
Okay, so let's see. For the Nets, number 30, since it's the 30th day of the
Kittles.
month. No, not Gary Kittles. Brooklyn Nets, 2013, 2014.
Reggie Evans.
Bam.
He's a
See,
freak.
Mike.
I just want to get that Ric Flair. Is it Ric Flair that what do you call it? That gif I saw recently. He's like, and I'm gonna be more obnoxious, and you're gonna like it. You know what I'm talking
Reggie
about? Or
Evans
no?
is a good rebounder. Good
Can you give me
job.
another Knicks one? I need another Knicks. I need to redeem myself.
Yeah,
That
so
was
we can
bad.
just get embarrassed again by our guest.
Yeah.
Great
Well,
man.
in my defense, Dougie McBuckets, he was on the team for like half a season. So
Okay.
Like-
All right.
Dougie Buckets.
Wasn't he part of the trade that brought them? The draft pick that eventually ended up being Mitchell Robinson, or no?
No, that was Melo. That was a Melo deal. They got Mitchell Robinson.
How'd they get McDermott? Why am I drawing a blank?
How'd they get
Was
him?
he
I think
wasn't
they
he
just
part of the
signed him.
Canner deal? I don't even know.
I don't even remember how.
But I will say this real
honestly-
quickly: the Knicks missed Mitchell Robinson in the series
Oh
because
my god, yeah.
I'll tell you why. Noel, as great as he is, as a shot blocker, and he's got the quick hands for steals and all that other stuff. He's like a toothpick out there. He's like giving up like 30 pounds
He's getting
against
tossed,
Capella.
yeah.
Exactly. He can't rebound. He just always taps the ball out. And Mitchell Robinson is more physically, can probably bang with Capella. So
all right, number 31 for the Knicks from 07 to 09.
Malik Rose.
Nailed it.
Damn, nailed
Nice
it.
work.
By the
Where are you,
way,
Dolan?
by the way, you were right. The McDermott trade was he came back with Cantor and the second round pick to the Knicks from Oklahoma City, and then
so
he
that
was
second
traded
round,
to.
so that second
yeah.
round turned into Mitch, right?
Yeah, he was in the same deal with the pick that eventually became Mitch, and then he was traded to the Mavericks in a 3-team trade that also involved the Nuggets. I don't know what trade that was. That's weird. That must have been some random like a Lexi Shved trade.
Give us one more, Alex.
One more Nets one.
Give us one
let's see.
more, yeah.
Do you do the research for these jersey questions ahead of time, or no? You just make
No,
them
No.
yourself?
On the
On the
fly.
fly.
Very-
Let's see. Okay, so New Jersey Nets, number 53, from 83 to 87.
That's before my
He's
time.
famous though. Famous.
Mike Jaminski.
Man. I was gonna say that. Yeah.
No.
No.
Huge dunker. Amazing dunker.
Oh, Daryl Dawkins.
Daryl Dawkins.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, do something from. If you know New Jersey, it's got to be after 1990. I can't
Do it in the
80s.
years that I know.
Well, I was born in 1980, so I wasn't watching the Nets back in like 86
I know,
or
but
83.
I thought Daryl Dawkins. I thought you would get. That's all. 'Cause I
No,
thought he was,
No, come on.
1989,
No chance.
1990, the Bill Fitch, that start of that era.
okay, fine. Number 21.
Kevin
from
Edwards.
94. Oh, damn, bro.
We've done Kevin Edwards.
Have
Well,
we?
I saw-
I don't even know.
Who Dolan? I saw in the Baumgarts in Englewood. You'll get that.
Really
Yeah, and I asked for his autograph. I got it.
nice. If you want his
Real
other autograph, he's on that
Okay,
basketball that
all right.
I'm trying to give to you as a gift.
I'm gonna get Kevin Edwards one, Alex. You're feeding him answers here.
Okay, so here's one that you guys won't get. So number 32 in 1969.
I have no idea.
I just wanted to stump you guys. Tommy Bowens. I don't know who that
Oh,
was.
TB. You remember TB, right, Dolan?
No clue.
It was the ABA Nets too. So
All right.
you
This has
should-
been
should've
Bad
known
Weather
that.
Fans, episode 65. Mike, Alex, and Dolan J. Trump. Hey, Dolan, we'll put the link in our show notes as well. But for people that want to get some awesome Make Knicks
Yes,
Great
I appreciate
Again
it. We got
merch,
some we got
Yeah,
some
where do
new
we go?
designs. You go to you can go to dolanjtrump.com or you can go to the other website. It's the same. It's gumroad.com/MKGA. Obviously, it's much easier to go dolanjtrump.com. But we got amazing shirts that we just launched. All America. It's American apparel. They're very comfortable, made in America. So we're bringing back American jobs, and they're amazing. We got Weed the Garden. We got the Garden Boys, One Arena News Network, and unfortunately, IQAnon was not made. The company refused to make it. They say it closely resembles the extremist group. So,
what's your favorite go-to if you had to pick one?
Out of the shirts, well, I just got mine last night, so it was very exciting. So today I'm rocking the Garden Boys. Didn't bring us any good luck, so I may have to go with Weed the Garden for the next game.
Nah, but if you're a Knicks fan, highly recommended. What we'll do, Dolan, is we'll put it in the show notes too.
Appreciate it.
Quick, easy access.
Yeah, we get 10% of all your sales that come from our website, from our podcast.
We'll do a promo code. Yep.
Promo code Bad Weather BWF. Hit the promo code and you get all your Dolan J. Trump merchandise now. All right,
unless
Dolan,
you're Amy Dash, right?
Okay. You want to address the Amy Dash situation?
I mean, there's she kind of embellished on some of the details of our trade deal, so things worked out.
What am I, Grady Couric here? It's okay. All right, this has been Bad Weather Fans, episode 65. Thank you guys. Check it out on YouTube. We'll see y'all later. Alex, peace, buddy.